Happening now, another community reeling from a mass shooting. 3 9-year-old students and 3 staff members were gunned down inside a Nashville elementary school. The shooter killed by police. We have the latest from Nashville, plus the plea from a gun violence survivor who found herself at the scene of yesterday's mass shooting.
Also breaking right now, at least 39 migrants killed in an overnight fire at a shelter in Mexico, just across the border from El Paso, Texas. What we're learning about the migrants and the cause of the fire this morning.
Plus, new this morning, lawmakers unveil a new plan that would overturn President Biden's student loan forgiveness program. We'll break down the proposal and what it means for the millions of Americans with college debt.
And new numbers are out giving us a picture of the current housing market. We're going to break down what it means if you're buying or selling and what this latest data tells us about the state of our economy.
Thanks so much for joining us this morning. I'm Zinclair Samoa in for Savannah Sellers.
And I'm Joe Fryer. We are following a lot of major stories this hour. We do want to begin with the latest on the school shooting in Nashville. This morning, a community is reeling after 6 people, including 3 9-year-old students, were killed yesterday when a shooter opened fire inside the small Christian school. It comes as we're getting our first look at disturbing new surveillance video from inside the school. And we do want to warn you, the video could be upsetting. You can see the locked glass doors that were shattered by gunfire. Then moments later, the shooter, who investigators say was a former student, crawls through the door frame and stalks the hallways with what appears to be an assault-style rifle. Investigators released these pictures of the weapons, which they say were used in what authorities are calling a targeted attack.
There's some belief that there was some resentment for having to go to that school, and that's why this incident occurred. It was going to be shootings at multiple locations, and the school was one of them. There was actually a map of the school detailing surveillance, entry points.
We have full team coverage of this tragedy. In just a moment, we are going to speak with Highland Park shooting survivor Ashby Beasley. But let's begin with NBC News national correspondent Jay Gray, who is on the ground in Nashville. Jay, what more are we learning about all this morning?
Well, Joe, as you just heard, it sounds like this attack was planned in detail by the suspect here, Audrey Hale. We know that the windows of the doors, as we've talked about, were shot out. And then with 2 semi-automatic assault-style rifles and a pistol, Hale walked inside and methodically walked the hallways there. It seems there was no specific target, just the first people who she stumbled upon. 3 students, as you talk about, 3 staff members, all killed. We also know this is very much an ongoing investigation. We've seen this morning already more police vehicles heading up the hill behind us here to the Covenant School, including an evidence van. So this is very much an ongoing and active investigation.
So, Jay, I mean, police say the shooter was a former student at the school. We don't know if that had anything to do with a motive. Yeah. I mean, what are police saying about a possible motive right now?
No, and most of the information they've gleaned has come from writings that were found inside the suspect's car parked at the school, including a manifesto which pointed to the fact, investigators say, that the suspect may have resented being sent to this Christian school as a child, 28 years old at the time of the attack. There are also some other writings that the chief of police here in Nashville has alluded to, as well as the mayor this morning, and they may provide some more insight. We hope to hear more about that manifesto and about some of what they've been studying overnight in the next few hours.
All right, Jay Gray reporting from Nashville. Jay, thank you so much. And Nashville's Mayor John Cooper joined the chorus of lawmakers who are calling for gun law reforms. Earlier this morning, he told Today co-host Hoda Kotb that simple changes could save lives.
I think people need to understand that common sense reforms, which are not really onerous on gun ownership, does make a big difference. And gun safety and common sense regulations to kind of separate mental health challenges away from active gun ownership seem imperative. This is not, I mean, we used to do this a few years ago. What's happened is we've rolled back any common sense kind of understandings about how these assault weapons in particular are are managed in America, and you end up with disasters and tragedies. And it's not the diminishment of people's rights, it's how we live together in a society safely.
Our coverage continues now with Ashby Beasley. She's a survivor of the July 4th, 2022 shooting in Highland Park, Illinois, and she happened to be in Nashville just yesterday when this latest mass shooting happened. She joins us now. Ashby, thank you so much for being here. I'm sorry that it's under these circumstances. I know you tweeted that you were on a family vacation when you heard about this shooting. I imagine that can bring up feelings. What was that feeling like for you?
So every single time there's a mass shooting, it's just, everything comes back. All the feelings come back. Watching the coverage, just, I can relate to what all of the families and the people in the building are thinking, replaying it in their head, the anxiety, the stress. It's just, I just feel for them. I feel for everyone in the Nashville community right now.
And Ashby, I know since that incident, you have become an activist lobbying for change in the gun industry ever since you survived that shooting last year. And I saw you actually tweeted at Senator Dick Durbin yesterday after that shooting in the elementary school. What is your message to him and other lawmakers as gun violence once again has hit too close to home for you and so many other Americans?
A lot of people say this is not political. It is absolutely political. Guns are absolutely political, but they are nonpartisan. The majority of Americans, 2/3 of Americans, according to Fox News, support a federal assault weapon ban. 90% of Americans support tougher background checks. Americans as a whole support gun safety legislation. So my ask to our lawmakers would be to listen. The easy access to guns is killing us. The easy access to weapons of war are killing our children. You can walk into a store, you can walk into like a gun show and you can buy an AR-15 style weapon at only 18 years old with no background check. And these shootings will continue to happen until we address this, until we put background checks on every single gun purchase, until we close, the gun show loophole, and until we come down and make sure that we are making sure that that people who should have access to guns have access to guns, and people who shouldn't should not have access to guns.
And Ashby, you said something earlier that stood out to me. You said you knew what these families were going through. You knew that feeling very well. Can you describe, for those who have not experienced a mass shooting, thankfully, what that experience is like for survivors, what people need to understand about supporting them?
So right after a mass shooting, you're kind of in shock. But over the course of days and weeks, you'll just replay it over and over again in your head, like on a loop, and you will think about what you could have done differently and try to remember things. And you can't always remember things because you're in shock. And I would just urge people just to be patient, to be there, to listen. With little kids, I know with my son, it was really important for him to know immediately, as soon as possible, that the shooter could not harm anyone else. That, and in our case, our shooter was arrested. So being able to tell him, the shooter is in jail, he can't hurt anybody. It was as soon as we could tell him that, we did. And that's where you're starting to try to build back a foundation of trust. So I would urge, parents, when they're talking to their kids, let their kids lead the conversation, let them ask the questions and try to answer them, in an age-appropriate way, and make sure that they have that foundation of understanding that the shooter can't hurt anyone anymore. The shooter is not able to hurt anyone, and that they're not in imminent danger anymore.
No, really important advice, and I hope you and your son have been healing well. Ashby Beasley, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we're continuing to follow breaking news out of Mexico this morning. Dozens of people were killed in a fire overnight in a migrant center near the U.S. border. NBC News Homeland Security correspondent Julia Ainsley has the very latest.
We're still learning more details about exactly what transpired that led to this fire at the National Immigration Institute building in Juarez, Mexico. We do know, though, that Juarez is a major crossing point for immigrants looking to cross into El Paso, Texas. That has become really the epicenter of migrants who are from South America, Central America, and really all over the world. More have been amassing there recently, and just a little over a week ago, we saw a group of migrants who say they were desperate to get into the United States, many of them from Venezuela, Venezuela, rushing that port of entry, trying to get past Border Patrol. They were stopped, but many of them said the reason for rushing is because they haven't been able to use the tools the U.S. government gives them to apply for asylum. There's a new app they're supposed to use to set up those appointments from their phone. A lot of desperation in Juarez and a lot of violence. It's become one of the most violent cities in the world, and we understand there are many migrants without shelter living on the streets. Some of those migrants might have been the very ones who ended up in this shelter. Again, a lot of desperation there as people try to get into the United States. And I think this will also be a cause for conversation about U.S. immigration policies. As you know, the Biden administration has actually shifted further right on some of its policies recently, making it harder for asylum seekers to cross the border. And we understand that when Title 42 lifts, those COVID-19 restrictions are expected to lift May 11th, any migrant who has crossed into the United States and did not first claim asylum in another country, such as Mexico, or one that they crossed in, would be considered ineligible for asylum. That's one of the things that they've been rolling out that could very easily stop migrants from crossing and making those asylum claims. We also understand that they're bringing in more asylum officers to adjudicate and to try to quickly deport or expel any migrants that don't qualify immediately, rather than letting them into the United States for a longer period of time, as we've seen in the past. So some of these stricter policies, including requiring migrants to set up appointments on the CBP One app, have led to even more migrants amassing in cities like Juarez, not able to get in. But exactly the details of this fire yet, we're still learning.
Julia, thanks so much.
Turning now to the ongoing political crisis that's unfolding in Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has delayed a contentious judicial overhaul that has plunged the country into turmoil with weeks of protests and strikes. NBC News foreign correspondent Raf Sanchez joins us now with the latest from Tel Aviv. So, Raf, where do things stand this morning? And are Netanyahu's comments expected to satisfy protesters, or could we go through this all again next month?
Joe, the protesters are saying this is not over yet as far as they're concerned. You may be able to see there are people with flags passing me right now. They are on their way to a protest here in Tel Aviv up there. And the reason they are still on the streets is they are not looking for a delay to this legislation, which is what Netanyahu has promised. They want a commitment that this plan is dead and buried, and they do not have that yet. Netanyahu says this legislation is on pause until the next parliamentary break, and that is not satisfying these protesters. We spoke to one of their leaders. She's the head of a women's group earlier, and she told us she fears Netanyahu is trying to lull the protesters into a false sense of security, feeling that this political fight is over, when in fact this legislation could be back in the Israeli parliament in just a couple of weeks. Jeff?
So, Raf, Palestinians living in Israel and those under occupation, they say Israel's rights record and democratic character has always been a problem for them. What have they made of these protests?
Yeah, Joe, it's a good question. Israel has a very sizable Palestinian minority, about 2 million Palestinian citizens of Israel. And you are not seeing them really in any large numbers in these protests, which is striking because legal analysts will tell you that it may very well be the Palestinian minority that has the most to lose if Israel's Supreme Court is weakened. But when you speak to Palestinian citizens of Israel, they'll tell you, many of them anyway, that they don't really feel included in this political system one way or another. Whether the Supreme Court is weakened or not, they feel that this is largely an issue of Jewish Israelis speaking to one another. And then when it comes to Palestinians in the occupied West Bank, they are largely in a separate judicial system from the rest of Israel. Palestinians there tend to go through Israeli military courts rather than the Israeli civilian court system. And so there's a feeling among a lot of those Palestinians that whatever happens here one way or another doesn't affect the fact that they live under Israeli military occupation. Jeff.
All right, Raf Sanchez reporting from Tel Aviv. Raf, thank you.
And in France, a new round of protests and strikes are taking place across the country today over President Macron's pension reforms. France's labor unions have called on Macron to pause raising the pension age by 2 years and are urging talks. Millions have been protesting the changes since mid-January.
We're following breaking news in Philadelphia. Officials say it is now safe to use the tap water after a chemical spill in the Delaware River over the weekend. People will be able to use their tap water systems until at least tomorrow night. That's when the city says it expects water samples to pass Philadelphia treatment plant standards. The spill happened Friday when nearly 12,000 gallons of a water-based latex finisher spilled into the river.
Now to the south, where this morning people are just coming to terms with the devastation from deadly tornadoes there. And Mississippi families who lost everything are now wondering just how they will recover in the wake of the deadliest tornado outbreak that state has seen in 50 years. NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa joins us now from Rolling Fork, Mississippi to discuss. Good morning, Maggie. Good to see you. So what have the survivors told you about their experience with this deadly storm and its aftermath? And what exactly are they saying they need most?
Yeah, Clay, as you've been hearing, we're now entering day 4 since this storm. People are it's still hitting them really emotionally. A lot of people say that's the first time they've seen anything remotely that intense in their lifetime. And they wake up morning after morning and they see scenes like this. They see semi-trucks piled up where homes used to be. They see homes completely decimated. This is still largely as much of a mess as it was the morning after the storm. Saturday morning, they're kind of at this point of stagnation. They know help is coming. They know the White House has set aside federal aid, but that process will likely take a long time. And for now, they just feel like they're in a very painful holding pattern. Clay?
Understandably, I mean, so many of those images, even those trucks behind you, it's just shocking. I'm sure many of the residents are in shock. Rolling Fork's mayor told NBC News that he believes 85% of the town is destroyed. What exactly are officials focusing on today as they continue recovery efforts, Maggie?
Yeah, it's interesting. So we've seen a lot of cherry pickers, kind of like utility crews going by, tree removal and tree trimming services. So clearly getting a lot of the power lines that have been knocked over and also just power poles that have been broken in half and those decimated too, getting that back up and running at least to some degree. And also there are a lot of down lines, so cleaning up that debris seems to be a focus for today. This noise going by right now, there goes another one. You can hear it coming right by our live shots. We've seen those kind of out in full force. That is some version of progress, even though it might seem just like a modicum of progress. It's something. People still going through their homes and everything like that, but that's at least something that would affect the entire community that we've seen new today. Sinclair.
And Maggie, I know President Biden is pledging federal aid for storm victims. What's the latest on that process? And are the people who did not have home or renter's insurance still eligible for aid?
Yeah, important question at the end there. The answer is yes to that. People who don't have insurance will have access to that federal aid. That was made very clear by the White House. That is a point that they are setting aside with some of that federal relief headed this way. As far as where we are in the process, we saw FEMA representatives out on the ground yesterday kind of making those initial points of contact, going decimated home to decimated home, frankly, and kind of yelling in to see if anyone was inside there and telling people, hey, it'll take a little time for the money to get here, but you do have to sign up for that money to get the relief, basically to help rebuild your house. In the meantime, a lot of that money is also going toward temporary housing, things like shelters and hotels, to give people at least a place to stay while they start to put together a plan to rebuild here. Sinclair.
Maggie Vespa, thank you so much.
Time for a check on your morning news now. Weather.
Meteorologist Angie Lastman, joins us now with the latest. Good morning, Angie.
Good morning, guys. It's another day where we'll watch for impactful weather on the West Coast. We have another storm system bringing heavy rain, snow, and winds. You can see where it stretches right now from basically Portland to San Francisco. They've been in and out of the heavy rain. This will be the deal through basically the entirety of today. We'll eventually, as we get into the later parts of tonight and specifically into tomorrow, see some of that moisture swinging into parts of Southern California. But overall, the snow, the wind, the rain, all on the table up and down the California coast here as we go through at least tomorrow. There's the rainfall amounts that you can expect. San Francisco picking up maybe another 1 or 2 inches. We'll see those higher amounts anywhere from 2 to 3 inches. And when it comes to snow, more for the Sierra Range. We're going to see possibly up to 4 feet of additional snow on what's already been a very busy season for folks out west. We also have those wind alerts. 15 million people are included in that. It does extend as far east as parts of Utah, San Francisco Francisco is included in that. And we could see these wind gusts up to 40, even 50 miles per hour along the coast. We could see them closer to 60, even 70 miles per hour. So there's going to be another day where we have that risk for downed trees, down power lines. Difficulty with driving those high-profile vehicles will also be something to take note of if you're going to be on the roads here through the next at least 24 hours. Meanwhile, in the southeast, a slow-moving cold front is going to bring the potential for some stronger storms to basically the Gulf Coast and extending into the Florida Panhandle. New Orleans, Panama City, Savannah all could pick up some additional rainfall as well on already saturated grounds. We could potentially see anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of rain by the time this is all said and done through this afternoon. We'll keep an eye out for any stronger storms as well. We have that potential for some hail, some wind gusts. I think wind is the greatest threat for us in those areas. But as we look ahead to Friday, I want you to make a mental note of this. Keep this in mind. If you live anywhere in these areas, it includes Chicago, Kansas City, just east of Dallas, Shreveport, up to Cincinnati, we'll have a potential for another severe storm kind of day with 52 million people at risk. That is Friday, guys.
All right. Thank you so much, Angie. Appreciate it. Turning now to Washington, where President Biden's student loan forgiveness program is facing new challenges. 39 Republican senators have introduced a new resolution hoping to overturn President Biden's debt relief efforts. The group is using something called the Congressional Review Act, which would allow members to halt the regulations from the executive branch without needing to get to 60 votes in the Senate. The resolution also looks to end the pandemic-related pause on federal student loan payments. This all comes just months before the Supreme Court is set to hear arguments about the program this summer.
Also new this morning, for the first time, renewable energy use has surpassed coal use in the U.S. The U.S. Energy Information Administration says growth in wind and solar contributed to 14% of electricity produced in the U.S. in 2022. California, Texas, and North Carolina were the biggest solar producers, while Texas, Iowa, and Oklahoma produced the most wind generation. We've also got breaking news this morning. The U.S. National Home Price Index has just been released. This is our first look at the state of the real estate market in 2023.
And it shows that home sales for the month of January are up 0.2% from the previous month and up 5.3% year over year. So for more on this, we are joined by Investopedia editor-in-chief Caleb Silver. Caleb, good morning. So home prices ended 2022 with these 6 consecutive months of decline. So what do we make of this new data that's out this morning?
Yeah, this is just a continuation of a slowing pace of growth, and we call this demand destruction in economics. Rising interest rates have meant rising 30-year fixed mortgage payments. That's at 6% right now. It was as high as 7% earlier last year. So those have pushed buyers out of the market, and we're finally seeing a crack in prices, particularly out west. Prices falling in the west, San Francisco, Phoenix, and those areas, but climbing a little bit here in the east, Tampa, Atlanta, and even in the northeast.
Caleb, is this first report of the year an indicator of what the rest of the year and all of the quarters will look like?
Yeah, we're getting into the home buying season, so spring is a little bit more active, and we have seen those mortgage rates relax a little bit from that 7% high. When you get a mortgage rate that's in the 5%, you get a 5% handle on that, it's a little easier for home buyers to swallow. But the average payment on this 30-year fix right now for a home, if you're borrowing $450,000, $2,778. That's a lot for first-time home buyers. That's a lot for any home buyers that are thinking about getting into this market. So I would say prices are going to stay around here. It's rare to see prices come down, but we're seeing the pace of growth slow a lot. That'll probably continue as long as mortgage rates are in this zone.
2 years ago, we were calling it a seller's market, to put it mildly. What would we call it now? Is this a seller's market? Is it a buyer's market? Is it somewhere in between?
It's right. It's a tug-of-war market because there's not a lot of inventory out there for potential buyers, and you have those high mortgage rates. And for sellers, they may not get the price that they wanted, and then they got to go live somewhere else. So it's kind of in this in-between stage where it's a little bit stuck. But as we go into the spring, you're going to see home buying activity pick up. If mortgage rates continue to come down, you're going to see it heat way up into the summer.
Should we expect these high mortgage rates to continue through the next quarter?
Yeah, you should. You should expect them for the rest of the year because the Federal Reserve has already told us they expect that Fed funds rate, which we were talking about last week, to remain in this zone, around 5% through the rest of 2023. That really impacts mortgage rates.
All right. Caleb Silver. Caleb, thanks so much. Appreciate you helping us break down these numbers. March is reaching peak madness this week as the final 4 teams in the women's NCAA basketball tournament are revealed. The undefeated South Carolina Gamecocks are gearing up to take on the Iowa Hawkeyes. Iowa is being led by basketball phenom Caitlin Clark, who just made history becoming the first player in history to record a 41-point triple-double. Meanwhile, the Virginia Tech Hokies are making their own kind of history. It's the first time the women's team is making the Final Four. They'll be facing the LSU Tigers, and all 4 teams will be descending on Dallas this weekend for an exciting tournament. A 41-point triple-double. I did that if you add up all the games I played in my childhood.
And you got
and
there.
I still don't know if I got there. I actually am not entirely convinced that I got to 41 points.
I definitely did not, so you got a laugh on me, Joe.
Good. Very exciting for all the basketball action on the men's side and the women's side. Of course, the Final Four coming to us this next weekend.
True madness.
Has it made you a basketball, lover?
I mean, I'm at least rooting for the college players. It's really impressive.
All right. Coming up on Morning News now, in the hot seat, top bank regulators will be facing questions today over the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank, what we are expected to learn about the bank's failure.
Plus, the latest on the school shooting in Nashville. One of the reporters covering the scene reveals she is also a survivor of a school shooting herself.
I've seen exactly what gun violence can do firsthand. I was in the hallway when the gunman at my school shooting opened fire.
Her advice to the survivors of this latest incident and how mental health experts say parents can talk to about this with their kids. Stay with us.
We're back now with the latest on the biggest banking collapse since the 2008 financial crisis.
That's right. Weeks after federal regulators took over Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, the Senate Banking Committee is expected to hold the first hearing on the collapse today. For more on what we can expect, we're joined by NBC News business and data reporter Brian Chung. Brian, good morning. So who are we expecting to hear from? What's the focus, and what are you looking for?
Yeah, so there's going to be three folks testifying on Capitol Hill this morning. It's going to be one representative from the U.S. Treasury, one representative from the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, and one representative from the Federal Reserve that will be testifying about the spectacular collapse of those two banks about 2 weeks ago, Signature Bank and also Silicon Valley Bank. What exactly happened there? How did regulators not catch the issues that were happening at those banks? And what are the steps forward? We know that both those banks now have new owners, at least in part. But does that mean that the bleeding has stopped in the banking sector? We'll have to hear from those government officials to see whether or not they have any sort of extra insight into the situation with the banks and whether or not people are still worried and taking their money out of the banking system.
You mentioned new owners. This hearing comes after it was announced yesterday First Citizens Bank purchased 17 Silicon Valley Bank branches. What should customers of both of those banks know? Any reason for concern at all here?
Yeah, so the news hitting late on Sunday that First Citizens, which is based in Raleigh, North Carolina, will be buying part, not all of the assets of Silicon Valley Bank, that large bank that failed out in San Francisco. Now, for what it's worth, those customers who are largely small businesses, medium-sized businesses, tech companies, private equity, venture capital, they are all now customers effectively of First Citizens. Now, it's interesting because Silicon Valley Bank was actually double the size of First Citizens at the end of last year. But what happens when a bank ends up collapsing is that the assets become a lot less valuable. So the FDIC, the government that took ownership of it, ultimately sold it at a massive discount to this other bank. But again, it just shows signs, though, that there are buyers in this market and that it's good because the government ultimately didn't have to hold the hot potato into perpetuity.
That's a good way to say it. And Brian, I know the House Financial Services Committee is expected to hold a bipartisan meeting tomorrow. We also know that we're going to hear testimony from Barr and Gruenberg testifying again, though we've heard from Janet Yellen saying the government will not bail out these banks again. So what should we be looking for there?
Yeah, well, as you mentioned, Michael Barr from the Federal Reserve and then Martin Gruenberg from the FDIC, they're going to talk about the regulatory side of things, what exactly unfolded in the ownership and the collapse of those two banks that failed. But we're going to listen very closely from the Treasury on the political side of things. Nellie Liang is going to be representing the Treasury. It's not going to be Yellen on the stand today. And then, as you mentioned, tomorrow in the House Financial Services Committee. But as Janet Yellen has said, what average Americans are worried about that don't have money at either of those banks is, well, did any of my taxpayer money go into bailing out those two banks? And the answer so far has been no, because the money that was used to essentially buy up those banks and take care of them in the interim was done using the Deposit Insurance Fund, which is made up of fees that the regulators assess on the banks themselves. So up to date, there's been no congressional legislation or anything that impacts our individual taxpayer dollars. But there are questions if they need to replenish that fund by putting more fees back onto the banks. Do the banks pass on those costs to customers later on in the future? That actually could be an indirect way that we'll all pay for this. But again, a little bit too early to say.
Oh, boy, everyone's watching, including our wallets. We're feeling it.
Right.
So, Brian Chung, thank you so much.
Now to Haiti, where a Florida couple has been kidnapped for ransom. Their loved ones say they were traveling to the country to visit family, but are now being held captive by gang members. NBC News national correspondent Gabe Gutierrez has the latest.
The family of an American couple kidnapped in Haiti, pleading with the U.S. and Haitian governments to help return their loved ones safely.
We have to keep fighting. We have to let everyone know so that we can get the proper help that we need.
Abigail and Jean Dickens Toussaint were traveling to Haiti on March 18th to visit sick family members and participate in a local festival, according to their family. But what was supposed to be a quick trip soon turned into a nightmare. Their family said the Florida couple was taking a bus from the airport when gang members stopped the vehicle and took the Americans hostage. The family saying they were contacted with a ransom demand. They paid part of it, they say, as agreed upon, but then they say the gang went silent. The couple's niece, Christy DeSormes.
When they didn't deliver and they tried to manipulate the whole situation, we were devastated. We kind of felt like a sense of hopelessness.
The missing Americans, both 33 years old, haven't been heard from since, but the family says they're working closely with the FBI to try to bring them back safely. Social unrest and political corruption have led to a wave of gang violence over the past several years in Haiti. According to the United Nations, there have been 531 people killed, 300 injured, and 277 kidnapped in gang-related incidents in Haiti since the beginning of 2023 alone.
It's estimated that gangs control about half of Port-au-Prince. Right now, they've set up checkpoints across parts of the city, making it difficult and dangerous to get around.
We traveled to Haiti in 2021 when a high-profile hostage situation made headlines after 17 missionaries were kidnapped for over 60 days. The State Department telling NBC News when a U.S. citizen is missing, we work closely with local authorities as they carry out their search efforts, and we share information with families however we can. Family members determined to see this couple home again to reunite with their baby, turning 2 this week.
We're fighting. We're going to find you, and we're going to bring you home.
The State Department advises Americans not to travel to Haiti due to, quote, kidnapping, crime, and civil unrest. The advisory is also a level 4, the highest kind of alert. It also encourages Americans who are still in Haiti to leave now. Back to you.
All right, Gabe, thank you.
Now to more international headlines. Vice President Kamala Harris is visiting Ghana to kick off a 3-nation tour of Africa.
NBC News correspondent Ali Arouzi joins us now with that and other world headlines. Ali, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. That's right. Vice President Kamala Harris is in Ghana as part of a week-long tour of Africa. She is the most high-profile member of the Biden administration to visit Africa as Washington steps up its efforts in an outreach to the continent as the United States, China, and Russia jockey for influence in Africa. The VP's trip is expected to focus on innovation, entrepreneurship, as she makes an effort to identify Africa as a place for private sector investment for Americans. At least 7 people have been killed and 23 others injured, with dozens missing in Ecuador after a landslide triggered by heavy rain swept over an Andean community, burying entire families under rubble and mud. Authorities say over 30 people have been rescued so far, but extensive damage has been done to homes and infrastructure, affecting around 500 people and 163 homes. And finally, an Australian man with his run-of-the-mill metal detector has literally struck gold, finding a whopping 10-pound rock containing $160,000 worth of gold. Australia is estimated to have the world's largest gold reserves, with many of the planet's biggest nuggets found down under. But a discovery like this is still rare. The lucky man, who wants to remain anonymous, is said to be gobsmacked, to use an Australian term. And those are your international headlines. I'd be gobsmacked finding a rock with $160,000 worth of gold in it.
No kidding. I'm going to start collecting rocks. And be like, is this one?
And see what you find.
No?
See what you find. Literally struck gold. Ali Arouzi, thank you so much.
Coming up, too close to home, a local TV reporter shares her own story while covering the school shooting in Tennessee. More of her experience and her advice to young people now coping with an all too familiar tragedy.
Plus, Southern Hospitality, how one nonprofit group is stepping in to help people displaced by those deadly tornadoes in Mississippi. You're watching Morning News Now.
Welcome back. We are hearing more survivor stories after that deadly outbreak of storms in the South over this past weekend. Many people have lost everything and don't have access to basic everyday necessities like food and water.
That's right. And one nonprofit organization is stepping in to help. Mercy Chefs is on the ground in Mississippi serving hot meals to those impacted by the storms.
Joel Cawley is director of church partnerships for Mercy Chefs. He joins us now from Rolling Fork, Mississippi. Joel, thank you for joining us, and thank you for everything you and your organization are doing right now. I mean, tell us a little bit about your group and what exactly it is you do in disasters like this.
Yes, first of all, thank you so much for having us and allowing us to share the story so we can get the help that these incredible people need. So Mercy Chef is a disaster relief and humanitarian relief organization that provides chef-prepared hot meals. And so when we come in, like right now on site, we have one of our very large mobile kitchens and multiple refrigeration trucks and big prep areas, and our motto is just to go feed people. And so in these times of loss and these times of desperation, not just for the survivors but also for search and rescue, all the first responders, they need a good hot meal. And so we've been able to get on the ground. We were here Sunday morning setting up and was able to go ahead and provide dinner. And then we provide meals from 11:30 to 5:30 every single day.
So important to be tending to people's immediate needs, and it sounds like you are doing just that. I know this tornado completely destroyed the small town of Rolling Fork. What is the main focus for you and your team as you help this community that has really just lost everything?
Yeah, our team is just provide some hope and healing through that hot meal. And so there's so much love and prayer that goes into the preparation of this. And then as we send teams out, especially in this very rural area, there's been so many people, and especially locals, that have came through on their ATVs to go out and just deliver these hot meals. And so that's our goal, is just to bring a little bit of comfort and relief and some hope during these times. And so as you see in some of the photos, it's not just like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but man, it's like yesterday we had some Cajun red beans and rice with banana pudding. And so when they open up that clamshell and they see that steaming hot meal with those beautiful colors, it just does something for your soul. And so that's what our goal is to feed body and soul at the same time.
That is some welcome Southern cooking right there. I mean, what do people say to you when they get these meals and see everything you're doing?
Man, it's not about the thanks, but you know, it's our heart to just go and feed people. But these amazing people in Mississippi are so generous, are so grateful for the generosity of everyone that's come alongside to help them. And we've had survivors of this tornado join us and say, hey, we may have lost our house and our car, but at least we can go and help serve our neighbors. And so even in the middle of them suffering loss, they want to give back and do their part as well. So that has been so incredible for us to be able to provide those opportunities.
Really incredible. And Joel, if people want to make a donation or volunteer their time with Mercy Chefs, your organization, how can they go about doing that?
Yeah, the easiest way is to go to mercychefs.com/MS tornado. And then it's Mercy Chefs, at Mercy Chefs on all social media platforms, and you can get all the information there. Also, if you want to sign up and come volunteer, you can come and help do prep work, and you can come and help deliver and distribute meals. We are right at the EOC, where one of the main distribution centers is as well. And so if you want to volunteer, you can also do that at mercychefs.com.
Joel Cawley, thank you for everything you are doing, and thank you for taking some time to speak with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for allowing us to be here. God bless.
Thank you. And it's time now for our weekly mental health check-in. We have some advice on how to talk to your kids about the Nashville school shooting, along with one reporter's deeply personal insight.
Plus, parents are reporting exhaustion 3 years after the pandemic began. We're taking a look at how to address parental burnout.
So let's bring in psychotherapist and award-winning reporter Dr. Robbie Ludwig for more on this. Doctor, good morning. So one reporter covering the Nashville shooting had some insight into what those students might actually be feeling, because she unfortunately experienced a mass shooting herself. First, let's take a listen.
Very close to home for me. Many of you might not know this, but I'm actually a school shooting survivor. My biggest advice is for all the families here, if your student witnessed the unthinkable today, just be very gentle with them and let them talk when they're ready, because the shock that they're going to be feeling coming home is going to be unfathomable.
Doctor, what do you make of this reporter's advice? How should parents be talking about this with their kids, and how do we cope with yet another mass shooting?
This is so disturbing, and it seems to be happening more and more frequently. Yes, I do agree with the reporter's advice. You certainly want to make yourself available to your child whenever they're ready. If they're young, any kind of communication via, let's say, even art or music or dancing. There are many different ways our children choose to communicate with us, and we just have to be aware and understanding that it's a process. And their verbal description of their emotional experience may not happen right away. It could even happen years down the road. So don't be afraid to get the help that your child might need, and help for yourself as well. And hopefully the community will provide some options for them.
Doctor, let's talk about some of the pandemic fallout. New studies are showing parents still reporting high levels of burnout 3 years after the COVID pandemic began. So why is it so many parents are struggling, and what can you do to spot and then to try and mitigate those feelings?
Well, first of all, parents need to be aware if they are feeling burned out, and realize, too, you're not a superhuman being. I think a lot of parents equate their goodness with how much they can give and provide, and that leaves them feeling exhausted in a long-term way. What's really important is to ask for help. We're not meant to do things alone. And I think one of the things the pandemic caused was a self-imposed isolation, if you will, and a new sedentary lifestyle where we're not connecting in person as much. And it's so important. Digitally is great, but it can't be the only thing that connects moms to other moms, or dads to other dads, or parents to each other. So to really be deliberate about asking for connection, find a community, ask for help. There are people out there who can provide you with a bit of space that you need to get your bearings. We do need me time as parents so that we can give our children the patience and nurturing that they need.
And Dr. Ludwig, I know a new report also shows an alarming number of college students have considered dropping out because of emotional distress. So what does this tell you about the ongoing mental health crisis among teens and young adults? Is there any way to approach students to keep them from dropping out and just get them the emotional support they need?
I love the idea of teaching emotional intelligence and how to identify our emotions. I think young teens are getting really good at that. So in the past, we might not have known about a college student's anxiety or depression. It might have been a secret that they just kept to themselves and had this pull yourself up by the bootstraps type of mentality. But now young kids are very verbal about their emotional experience. We also know that many mental health illnesses present themselves around the age of 18, which is when young kids go to college. So again, we need to tell kids that having strong transitional issues that might create anxiety and depression are a bit normal during this time, to talk about their feelings, to understand that there is help, and that they can take a break from college if they need to for 6 months to get their bearings. They're going to live a long life. There's plenty of time to get it all done.
All right, some good advice there, Dr. Robbie Ludwig. Thanks for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Coming up, making his case, the man suing Gwyneth Paltrow takes the witness stand to recount a ski slope accident he says left him seriously and permanently injured.
When we come back, we'll bring you his testimony next on Morning News Now. Welcome back. A jury in Park City, Utah heard directly from the man who alleges that Gwyneth Paltrow slammed into him on a ski slope back in 2016, causing him serious and permanent injuries.
It comes after the Oscar winner took the stand Friday, telling the jury she was the one that was hit. NBC News national correspondent Miguel Almaguer has the story.
I heard something I've never heard at a ski resort, and that was a blood-curdling scream.
Making his case on the stand, Terry Sanderson, at times emotional, told a Park City jury it was Oscar winner Gwyneth Paltrow who plowed into him on a Deer Valley ski slope in 2016.
It was like somebody was out of control and going to hit a tree and was going to die.
Explaining to the court he suffered serious injuries, including 4 broken ribs and a concussion, the now 76-year-old says he has permanent brain damage after he was struck from behind.
Communication is not as smooth, and it's been more difficult, no question.
At the crux of the lawsuit, in which the retired optometrist is seeking a minimum of $300,000, is who the jury believes.
I feel very sorry for him. It seems like he's had a very difficult life, but I did not cause the accident.
Paltrow, the actress-turned-lifestyle guru who was countersuing for $1 plus legal fees, has always maintained she was the victim.
I was skiing and looking downhill, as you do, and I was skied directly into by Mr. Sanderson.
With no apparent video of the crash, Paltrow's legal team says Sanderson has exaggerated his injuries and targeted the actress because of her fame and wealth.
Also expected to testify, Paltrow's husband and children who were skiing that day.
With Paltrow's husband and children still expected to testify, it could be a few more days until the jury has this case. Back to you.
All right, Miguel, thank you.
We've got some breaking financial news this morning. China's retail giant Alibaba announced plans to split itself into 6 new separate business units.
CNBC's Savannah Hanau joins us with that and other money news. Savannah, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Joe and Zinkler. That's right. So Alibaba plans to split up into 6 main units, covering everything from e-commerce to the cloud. It's the biggest restructuring in the Chinese tech giant's 24-year history. Most of the new businesses will explore fundraising or an IPO. News of the overhaul comes just a day after Alibaba co-founder Jack Ma was spotted at a school in China. That was his first public appearance on the mainland in more than a year. Ma left China in 2021 as authorities were launching a crackdown on the country's tech sector. Meta Platforms, the owner of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, plans to lower bonus payouts for some employees. The Wall Street Journal reports the company will also conduct performance reviews twice a year. Employees who get a rating of met most expectations in their 2023 review will get a smaller percentage of bonuses and stock awards due early next year. Meta typically pushes employees out after rating them as low performers over 2 successive review periods. Twitter has been aggressively pushing its Premium Blue subscription, which gives users a verified badge and exclusive features. In the latest attempt to convince people to sign up, Twitter will stop recommending tweets from unverified accounts, and non-blue users won't be able to vote in polls. CEO Elon Musk says the changes will take effect April 15th, and he says this is the only real way to combat bots. Twitter currently doesn't ask for a government ID to check whether a person is the real owner of an account.
Never a dull moment with Twitter.
Right? Never.
Savannah Hanau, thank you so much.
You got it.
Coming up, giving Rosies their roses.
When we come back, the big honor for a group of women who played a key role in World War II. You're watching Morning News Now.
We're back, and Bad Bunny is not only taking over the world, but also Time magazine. The Puerto Rican rapper is on the cover of the April 10th issue, which has just been released. That cover is also the first time the U.S. edition has featured all text in Spanish. It translates as The World of Bad Bunny, with the quote, "I'm not going to do something else just to please you." In the interview, Bad Bunny touches on being the first Latino to headline Coachella, his interest in acting, his recent Grammy performance, and much more. And that cover is kind of giving like Vogue vibes, which you don't usually get from Time magazine.
He's not only a music phenom, but clearly giving Vogue fashion vibes.
A little style icon there.
Joe, thank you.
Yep.
Finally, this hour, in the heat of World War II, their hard work kept American tanks rolling and bombers flying. Now, 80 years later, one group is still being honored. NBC News Chief Washington correspondent Andrea Mitchell has the story of the women collectively known as Rosie the Riveter.
From the factory floors to recruiting posters and songs, few women in American history are as iconic as Rosie the Riveter.
How old were you when you started working in the factory? Well, I just graduated out of high school.
Putting their lives on hold to build the bombers and tanks that helped win the war. These Rosies, most in their 90s, 4 older than 100, are now being honored for their service.
We worked like heck to beat the guys' butts out of there for doing what they did to our boys out in Pearl Harbor.
From a national necessity, starting a revolution for women in the workplace, and proud of it.
Up until 1941, it was a man's world, and they didn't realize how capable women are. There's nothing I don't think that a woman can't do. It's up to the woman whether she wants a career raising a family or whether she wants to be an astronaut. We have that choice now.
Invited to Washington on an honor flight usually reserved for World War II veterans, dedicated to the Rosies, asking tour guides to let them pose in front of the suffragette statue in the Capitol, and visiting the World War II memorial.
We weren't doing it for honors or rewards. We were doing it to save our country and save our brothers and uncles and aunts, whoever were working.
Doing all that crappy work in a factory so they can put their lives on the line, it was worth it to have them come back.
A group proud of all they accomplished in the war and for women for years to come. Andrea Mitchell, NBC News, Washington.
Heroes, all of them. So grateful for Andrea for bringing us that story.
Absolutely.
All right, that does it for this hour of Morning News Now.
The news continues right now.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.